Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Preliminary matter on the AM docket, case number 4501 South Lehigh Street. This is a Class BD7. An application to transfer ownership has been postponed. Nori Sushi Bar and Lounge, 850 West 36th Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. An application to transfer ownership, requesting outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning. Happy New Year. Stephen W. Fogelman.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank
Would
you.
you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so what do we have, Mr. Fogelman?
Well, all right, this one is should be a simple transfer. It's got an interesting story here. Nori Sushi Restaurant at 850 West 36th Street has been operating for about 6 months now. I want to go ahead and forward you some menus. I thought I had 4. Here it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One for evidence. Thank you. Ask that be moved as admission. For admission, excuse me.
They'll be received.
Thank you. Applicant Joyce Chong has opened an excellent little restaurant in the heart of Hamden. It's been reviewed by the Baltimore Sun.
Thank you.
And I'll move for the admission of the Baltimore Sun article, second exhibit. Thank you. And the restaurant has been a success with the neighbors. The hours are 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday through Thursdays, and 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. It's a 70-seat establishment. There is not even a full bar in the establishment, really just a service bar. And so this is a BD7 license, and they estimate at this point 10% of their sales are alcohol. They've been operating under the current license under a management agreement. Now, Ms. Chong has some prior experience. Not all of it was, quite frankly, positive and might have run anyone.
Excuse me, Mr. Fogelman, it's a Class B.
Oh, it is Class B. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
Just to
okay.
clarify that.
Not a problem. So we've got Ruby 8 Sushi, where Ms. Chong worked from 2016 to 2018. She was the licensee at 1702 Whetstone Way. Previously, she'd endeavored to run Maxie's at 3003 North Charles Street. And quite frankly, she bought into a place that had a reputation and came with customers, and the customers were young. And when I was chairman of the board, we saw them, and there were 7 underage possession cases on a single day, and the board fined the licensee over $2,875 with the administrative hearing fee. Then a couple of years later, under another board, the licensee at the time had signed a contract to sell the establishment and had a new buyer in under a management agreement. At that time, the licensee was found guilty of further health department overcrowding, et cetera. You have the charges. Nevertheless, it was a massive fee. It was an $8,125 fine and a 6-week suspension. Ms. Chong understands that she wasn't able to control the place. She wasn't even able to control her bartenders or a security guard in her absence. And the place was completely unmanageable in her absence when she went home at night to go to bed. And this place stayed up late at night. She learned a lot from that. And I would posit that a licensee who has seen the power of the liquor board and the punishments that occur for wrongful behavior is a licensee who understands fully the repercussions of her conduct or omissions. And that's why I think it demonstrates that once she moved on to Ruby H. Sushi and the board did approve her to be on that license at Whetstone Way, she had no problems whatsoever, no violations whatsoever. She's in the restaurant business. That's where she always wanted to be, but Maxie's was an opportunity that came along at the time it did, and Mr. Chong and Mrs. Chong got involved in that business. They're now where they want to be, which is with a restaurant with, quite frankly, a grown-up clientele. And that's what Nori is today.
How long has Nori been open?
Nori, as a concept, has been open for 6 months. Once a contract was signed between the seller, Bernard Dehaney, and Ms. Chong. And I don't know what I said, but I want to make sure that you've got a seating chart, because I may have misspoken about the number of seats. But there it is. I'll have Ms. Chong testify as to the seating.
So,
You said 70, I think. But
I think I did, yeah.
Doesn't look like that many, does it?
like-
How many is it, ma'am?
Mrs. Chong, how many seats do you have there now?
Around 70.
Oh, okay.
it says 77 at the bottom, but
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's designed, I mean, I'm not certain on that. Now,
All right, so who's going to run the alcohol at Nori? Ms. Chong?
Ms. Chong?
Anyone else?
No, absolutely
Is she
not.
alcohol certified now?
She is.
And what were the years when she had the problems at Maxie's?
2000, according to our records here at the Liquor Board, December 2012 until the final case came in on October 26, 2015.
and the outdoor table, there's outdoor table service, correct?
I believe there's existing outdoor table service, yes.
And how many seats are outside?
Around 24.
Okay.
I mean, if we get busy, we pull the tables out for the customer, but usually we have a 4 to 5 table outside for the summer times.
How many employees do you have, ma'am?
I do have a 1 full-time and I have 3 part-time employees.
So who's preparing the sushi?
I have a 1 full-time sushi man,
Oh, okay.
sushi chef, yes.
And you're going to manage the bar?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have a good crowd. I mean, it's all locals, and the average age is in the mid-30s.
So, Mr. Fogelman, I want to make sure I follow this. So Ms. Chong ran an establishment that had a number of problems, which you're proffering that she fully understands the consequences given that experience. This board then approved her as a licensee in the interim, right?
That's correct.
At Whetstone Way, and now she's coming in for another one. And there haven't been any issues at Whetstone Way
Not at
based
all.
on our documentation, and that was approved. When was the Whetstone Way?
2016, I believe, is that right?
2016 through the 2018.
All right.
And so I understand this board's concern. I mean, anytime you look at a record like that, it is concerning.
But
And
you're exclusively at Nori now, right? You're not working both?
No, we only open for the Noris.
she was removed from the license last year from Whetstone Way.
Okay, so she's not a licensee now,
Correct.
and she's not on Nori. Okay, got it.
Okay. Commissioners have any other questions?
No other questions?
Okay, anything further?
No, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers and testimony received this morning, as well as the exhibits, I would vote to approve the transfer, Ms. Chong, with the admonition that you know the story, you know how difficult it can be if you run into problems. You've had, a recent record is good. This looks like an establishment that's going to have minimal alcohol use compared to someplace like Maxie's, so I hope it's not going to be a problem for you. So be very careful.
I, too, I vote to approve the transfer, and I agree with what the chairman says about your prior experience. And I know that the last license you were on, it was operating well, but, you know, we want to ensure that this one also operates well.
So would echo my, the sentiment from my colleagues. I would approve the transfer of ownership with the continuation of the outdoor table service. And I would strongly encourage Ms. Chung to engage with the community as much as possible.
Thank you. And just wanted to say that Will Bauer is watching in Ocean City,
I
Maryland.
was
and says
wondering where he
hello.
was this morning.
He wants to wish you a very
I guess
happy
it
New
was
Year.
too cold for his shorts here today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. There you go.
Next exhibit for the record, Board Exhibit 1, menu, Board Exhibit 2, Baltimore Sun article, and Board Exhibit 3, seating chart.
She won't?
Seating chart.
You can have all.
SBD Group LLC, trading as Liquor House and Bar, 3 East North Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Good morning. Would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you raise your right hands? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes?
Yes,
Okay, so you can put your hands down. Sir, what is your name?
my name is Deepak Powder.
Okay, and your name, ma'am?
Manju Ranawat,
Excuse me? You're going to spell that.
ManjuRanabhat, Ranawat,
R-A-N-A.
BHAT.
Okay. Are you involved in this case?
I am, Your Honor, and I apologize for being a few minutes late. I actually texted Mr. Page, I think it was the best way to get in touch with the Honor. I was in Part 46 in front of Judge Finn, and it was running a little backed up, and I made it just in time.
Okay.
So I apologize, Your Honor. Frank Boozer on behalf of the applicants in this case for 3 East North Avenue, that's correct.
Okay, tell us about this transfer.
Your Honor, 3 East North Avenue is a small bar and tavern restaurant, obviously just east of Northern Parkway and Charles Street. It's been owned by the same gentleman, I think it's my understanding, for close to 30 or 40 years. There are 3 residences above that. My clients have worked in the beer and restaurant and tavern business for basically their entire lives. This will be their first kind of 50-50 venture into the business. They've spent a lot of time with the tavern owner. They've developed apparently quite a relationship, getting to know the people in the neighborhood, everyone there. It's an interesting part of town because not only is Station North moving north, but hopefully if they ever get the state project together, it's moving east, and Mikey is also moving east too. So they're right at the convergence of a lot of things going on.
Are they near the Parkway?
The Parkway,
Would you say they were at North Avenue?
no, North Avenue, yes.
Yes.
And Charles, if you were to go up Charles Street past the Station Arts District and then
Okay.
take a right, they're right there.
Right near the Parkway Theater, you say?
That's what I was asking.
Yes.
That was not open when I was
Directly across
watching
from
movies,
it.
so I apologize. I know where that was.
Yes.
He didn't mean that as a criticism.
No, I never heard it called the Parkway before. Is that,
It's
on-
a recent, in the last several years, reopening of a place for the Baltimore Film Festival.
And next to the,
Yes, Mr.
there
Booth.
is the theater.
okay, apparently he's been there. That's which is the most
Theater
important part.
next to it.
Okay.
That being said, Your Honor, they had a chance to meet with certain members of the community. They reached out to send several emails to the Station North Arts District. I'm not sure which was the time of the hearing, and it was the holidays, but of course, I noted in the file review yesterday, no objections to the board. They're going to run it just the same, and I think most importantly, they're actually planning on living in one of the apartments above there. So it will be.
Are these folks together other than in business?
No.
Okay,
no.
okay.
It's family members.
Family members,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
And so you have each worked in the tavern business for how long?
It's been like 7 years.
Both of you?
No.
No, this is my first time.
First time, okay.
You haven't had any problems, is that correct? No violations of any kind of things like that, correct?
I've never.
And are you alcohol certified?
Yeah, I do.
And will she become alcohol certified?
Yes.
Okay. And how many other people will work there?
Including me, one person.
Okay. And the hours will be
8 to 2.
8 p.m. to 2 a.m.?
No, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m.
2
midnight.
a.m., okay. That's a long day.
Yes. It's a long
Do
day.
you anticipate hiring more people in the future? But for now,
Yeah,
you'll
I'll-
be there because you'll live there
Yeah,
the entire
we'll
time.
hire in the future.
Okay, and so you're familiar with our rules and regulations about selling to minors and
Yeah,
from whom
yes.
you may buy your alcohol inventory and all the hours and other obligations?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you have any questions, you can contact us about that. Mr. Akers will be glad to help you and the other staff. Okay, commissioners have questions?
Is there a community association
Well,
around there?
it was Station North, but Station North's not kind of there. I guess again, just north of the Charles. And then we tried to contact, there was a North Avenue Community Association. That was, it looked to me, going through the map on Baltimore City provides of community associations, that didn't really start until, I think it was like either Guilford or Calvert in St. Paul. And then I thought Charles Village was 2 away. So they're literally in kind of this little oasis right there. But I will certify, they did send out emails, just never really heard anything. It might have been the holidays, but it was posted in accordance with the statute. Again, I don't think they'll have any problems. Like I said, they're taking over from a long-time owner. This is their first business venture. I think they'll definitely do.
Mr. Boozer, I assume you've explained to them the BD7 dilemma that we often run into, because
Absolutely.
so they're aware.
I'm very clear with that on my clients that buying a BD7, for lack of a better term, is not buying a packaged goods store. You must provide open seating at the same time that the shop is open itself. It's not a ruse for a Class A license, correct?
We get a number of violations on that issue, so please be aware.
Okay, anything further?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you. On the basis, then, the materials contained in the application proffers from counsel and testimony, I vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I appreciate it. Like I said, I apologize. I got out of Part 46, as you understand, as soon as humanly possible.
I didn't know that you were coming, so that's why, if I had known you were on your way, I would have waited.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Good to see you all.
Bye.
No exhibits.
You're fine.
(2250) Group LLC, treated as Robbie's Nest, 2250 East North Avenue. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the address of 2250 East North Avenue does appear on the non-compliance as a BD7 zoning list, and they must comply within 2 years.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor, and Commissioners. My name is Jay Yu, representing the petitioner, Mr. Sim and Ms. Hopkins.
Okay, can I ask them to raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Yu, what's the story here?
Mr. Sim has entered into a contract to purchase this BD7 establishment, which is a tavern. This is actually a tavern. It's not, as previously mentioned, he actually actively operates the tavern, and it's a.
But he has a packaged good component?
Yes, he does. Ms. Hopkins unfortunately suffered a heart attack back in October, so that's why she's in the wheelchair.
I'm sorry.
And she's rehabbing right now.
Does she work there as well?
No, she does not. She's retired. She used to be a nurse, and she's a retired nurse. Ms. Hopkins has been a 37-year resident of Baltimore City. She's a registered voter, property owner, taxpayer, and a 1% interest holder in the company. She has no criminal record or no serious traffic records. And again, she retired from nursing back in 1999. So she has plenty of time to look out for Mr. Sim and help him out and make sure that everything's done properly. She has not undergone the alcohol awareness training yet due to her health. But as soon as
She's going to actually work in the tavern, though?
no, she's not going to
Oh,
actually
okay.
work, but she will oversee the
How about
establishment.
Mr. Sim? Has he had the training?
Yes, he has had the training. He's very experienced in the liquor business.
How long?
Over 20 years, more than 30 years.
Okay. Any problems with the liquor board?
He, I believe, according to the record, he did have an employee sold to a minor long time ago, and he did have an infraction concerning the bar operation.
I mean, a BD7 violation?
Yes, when he was operating an Uptown Bar back in 2014, and he had an employee sell to a minor.
Okay. Do you have, will you have employees at this place?
Yes.
How many?
Two full-time, two part-time.
2 part-time, 2 full-time. And will they be trained?
Everybody trained.
Okay,
I'll make sure.
all right. And you will make sure that they understand the rules and regulations?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, commissioners?
So he was on 3 different licenses before?
Yes, he was on the Schuster's, he was on the Uptown Bar,
And
and
Pratt?
Pratt, yes. And throughout, he did have some problems, but nothing, nothing bad, I don't think. No questions.
No further
Okay.
questions.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, and the testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer as well with, again, the admonition to Mr. Sim that if anyone should know the laws of Liquor Board, it's him, and so we would not want to see him back on a violation given his history.
He understands that this comes under the zoning regulation and it has to conform. Yes,
So
okay.
the bar's been actively being operated. The previous owner did actively operate it, and he's continuing to actively operate. He completely understands.
All right, thank you.
He's facing if he doesn't.
Good luck, sir. And you too, ma'am.
Thank you. No exhibits for the record. Sir. You're welcome.
2K's Family Food LLC, 5123-25 Park Heights Avenue. This is a Class A beer and wine license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Abraham Hurd on behalf of 2K's Family Foods LLC. With me is Mr. Bryan. Mr. Morris could not make it today. My understanding is he is traveling. He is the 1% owner, and he has been working at the establishment.
Okay, Mr. Bryan, would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Hurdle.
If I may proffer, the location is an existing small grocery and liquor store. It's a fully integrated store in terms of the liquor. Some parts is behind the counter, some of it's kind of on the shelves, but ultimately, liquor is only sold 6 days a week as it's allowed. Mr. Bryan is a gentleman who's still in the military?
Yes, sir.
Still in the military, absolutely. He comes down 2 days a week to run it full-time. He also has family running it some of the other time when Mr. Morris is not there. This transaction actually occurred prior to my representation. There was a purchase that was done, and in the meantime, Mr. Bryan and his family have been running the location for about 8 months now, is my understanding. They've been doing without any violations. They've been purchasing from wholesalers. They're aware of the rules. And everything has been operating pretty much as it's supposed to. We did have some issues with the application. It was amended in October, and here we are finally.
Are you aware of this opposition? I'm going to take a look at
Not aware
that.
of any opposition. This is the first time we've heard of anything.
Has the NW Faith-Based Community Partnership had any contact with you or with your client?
I haven't spoken to anybody from this organization. No one's reached out to me to my knowledge. Have you?
No, sir.
You have been in contact with the other community association up there, which is Miss Israel, correct?
Israel. Yes.
And has she indicated any sort of objection?
No, sir, she haven't. She told us, per the group, we did went out and speak to them at one night, and they said they gave their consent.
I'm sorry, who did you speak to?
This was Sister Israel, and she runs a business group up there, is that correct?
Yes, sir, she
Can you
does.
tell us Sister Israel?
Sister Israel, yes.
Business group?
Yes, there's a business group on Park Heights Avenue. She runs a furniture store, I think, 2 doors down,
2
3
doors down
Yeah.
from our store.
And I think one of the members of the group used to be one of the leaders in the community as well, Mr. I can't remember his name.
Yes,
And
sir, it
and
was.
so did they ask to meet with you, or did you know of them, Sister Israel?
She introduced herself once we purchased the business a couple months back.
And she asked you to meet with her and other members of the community?
Yes, sir. She invited us out to be a part of the community as well, to attend meetings, which we did, which
And
we
was
further
their
have.
concern the same, that there was this letter says there's an oversaturation of liquor businesses in that area? Was that the same concern that they had?
She made mention of the amount of liquor stores that are there. We are not a liquor store. I made it clear we are not selling hard liquor. The only purpose of having that is to be able to sell wine. It's a grocery store, and this was the main purpose of us purchasing that business, because we noticed that majority of the stores there does not sell food. And it was a concern, so we decided we're gonna open a grocery store. However, it would be nice to sell wine to go with a meal. And we cannot do so without the license.
Did you have something to add? Can we swear you in, please?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Just spell your last name.
Matt Achhammer, Achhammer, Community Liaison for the Liquor Board.
Have you met with Mr. Bryan?
I have not.
Okay, so what did you want to add?
I wanted to add that we have reached out to follow up with the Northwest Faith-Based Community Partnership to Pastor Terry Moore 3 different times by phone, 2 different numbers, waiting a response back. The organization you're referencing is Pimlico Merchants Association, for the record, the one that they were talking about earlier.
Sister Israel?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had any contact with them?
I attended one of their meetings recently. This was not on the discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further?
Other than to say this is a pre-existing store, Mr. Bryan, I believe you have taken the alcohol awareness class at this point, or you
Yes,
will
sir.
be very
So
soon?
all my employees, we have 3 full-time so far, and we've all done the course. So we are diverse and knowledgeable of what is required and what is not required.
And what branch of the service are you in?
Air Force, sir.
Okay, what's your job in the Air Force?
Logistics.
Okay, and obviously, if you had problems in this business, it might impact your military career
Yes, sir,
as
it
well.
does.
So you have to be careful.
I had to receive clearance to have this business.
So how do you intend to manage, you live in New Jersey, how do you intend to manage this store, this grocery store, liquor store?
So my intent, sir, is to be here at least twice per week. The person who's there right now is my brother. He has a vast experience of retail, which I do trust with my life. And so far, he's been doing a great job.
He lives here?
Sir?
He lives here in Baltimore?
He lives in New York, but recently migrated here to Baltimore just so we can pursue this business.
Okay.
And does Mr. Morris, is he at the establishment?
Yes,
working?
ma'am. He works there. He is a resident here in Baltimore as well.
How many days a week does he work there?
He's there all 7 days if I don't kick him out.
Does he have experience in the restaurant business?
To my knowledge, ma'am, I am not sure what restaurant, but I think he said he once partnered with someone who would try to have a store as well, but he left that business.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. The existing storefront does not offer groceries. Is that something you're now doing, right? So that's a relatively, since you took this over?
So initially, it did offer groceries, not a lot. There were more selling groceries and knickknacks. So we've now expanded to full-on groceries.
Can we get some commitment from you that you will reach out to this community organization?
Sir.
Okay. I would just say in response to this opposition that the current owner has the right to sell to whomever they want. Our job isn't to, our job is to assess the candidate, the applicant. So we don't have the luxury of ridding the license or eliminating the license. But I would appreciate you to reaching out to this organization to make sure that they know what you're doing and exchange contact information.
Yes, sir.
We can get on their agenda at some point soon.
Might also avoid difficulties in the future.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, so the current usage is for a grocery store and deli with accessory sale of beer and wine. So it's an accessory use. For the
And it's just beer and wine, Mr. Page, right?
Correct.
So there's
Yes,
not
Commissioner.
liquor and, okay.
Got it.
Okay, anything further?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, proper from council, exhibits received, and testimony from Mr. Bryan, I would vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
Good luck, sir.
Good luck.
I call exhibit for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter/petition in opposition from Northwest Faith-Based Community Partnership.
Penn Restaurant, 663-65 West Pratt Street. This is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. A request to reopen under Article 12-2203, wherein a licensed premises has been closed for at least 3 consecutive months. Please come forward.
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Penn Restaurant.
Would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So we have a letter from Mr. Kadensky asking for permission to reopen for the sale of alcohol. And why has it been closed?
Because
You have to come up and say your name, ma'am, please.
Dimitra Stefanoni, Mike Stakis' daughter.
All right, one more. Spell it, please.
Stefanoni.
Let's start with your first name, Demetrius, D-E.
Demitra.
And then your last name?
Stefani.
Okay.
We couldn't get a hold of my uncle, who's the other licensee. There were some issues with back and forth. We couldn't get a hold of him to actually notarize the license since they're both on it. So
it's a recent transfer of the license to you?
This was the renewal, correct?
Oh, on the renewal, okay.
Yeah.
So it was a communication issue?
yes, and he travels back and forth to Delaware and also to Greece. So we just kind of fell out of that window where we couldn't get it done.
And are you going to be able to get it done now?
Yes,
Okay. Are you in contact with him?
yes.
Okay.
If I may, my understanding is that this was before the board for a hardship extension just a couple of months ago. I think when it was initially in, it was not indicated at the time to the board that the liquor sales had ceased, so they hadn't asked for that reopen option, so they had to immediately refile. My understanding is the restaurant has been open, there's just no alcohol sales. And it's just a situation where there was this just difficulty with family as it
So we
sometimes
granted the
occurs.
hardship, but there was no reopen.
My understanding was the board indicated to both Mr. Kadensky and the licensees that they in fact had to refile for the reopen. We heard today, Will's
Okay.
not walking so well, so I'm here on his behalf.
I remember. Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions?
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the request for permission to reopen, proper from council and testimony, I would vote to grant the reopening.
I concur and vote to grant the reopening as well.
I vote to approve the reopening.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Will we be excused?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Catch you guys in just a moment.
So is that the morning docket, Mr. Page?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until 1 p.m.
Okay, maybe we can meet with Matt?
I told the licensing machine, so I told her just to bring
Off or silent mode during proceedings. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, there being no preliminary matters on the PM docket, I call the case of Lust Entertainment LLC, trading as Lust, 408 East Baltimore Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and a Class AE adult entertainment license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment. Please come forward.
Anybody have notice of this matter?
yes, it was sent to the licensees.
And Mr. Priebus represents them.
Nobody? Okay, well, I guess we'll continue it to another time.
The next one?
Shamrock Liquors, 4300 Bel Air Road. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, and application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. JU representing the applicants, Mr. Everett Towns and Mr. Randolph Towns.
Gentlemen, would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Okay, Mr. Yu, so what's going on here?
If I may proffer, this is a request for transfer of Class A license at 4300 Bel Air Road. Mr. Randolph Towns will be the principal. He'll be the 99% owner of the the entity, and Mr. Everett Townsend with a 1% resident agent licensee.
You gentlemen are brothers?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I
Mr.
guessed that, I was pretty.
Mr. Towns, both Mr. and Everett and Randolph, they're both 26-year and 28-year resident of Baltimore City, born and raised in Baltimore. Mr. Everett is the property owner and taxpayer, and he has pecuniary interest in the business. He has no criminal conviction and shares traffic conviction. He is working as a fueling supervisor in the aviation industry at the BWI. Yes. Okay. And he's trying to help out his brother with the purchase of the liquor store. Mr. Randolph, he is experienced in business management. He worked as a manager for at least 5-6 years.
7 years.
7 years. And now he's ready to save up his money, and he's ready to go into his first business of his own. And he found this opportunity, and he's very excited about it. Mr. Everett and Mr. Randolph underwent the training for alcohol awareness, if I may submit.
Yes, they'll be received, thank you.
They were given extensive training. The trainer was kind enough to actually put them through 2 hours of rigorous training. And then they went through the quiz and everything. So they're very familiar with the rules and regulations. Mr. Randolph, in anticipation of this transaction, he actually went around the community to find out if he can establish some relationship with the community, but he wasn't able to actually locate a community association. So as this transaction goes to closing, he's going to continue to look for that, the community association.
We could actually probably help him with that. We have a community liaison.
Okay.
Who, I don't know if he's here right now, but if you see our staff afterwards, they can put him in touch with Matt, and Matt can probably help him identify who the appropriate community people are.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Towns, what was your management experience?
I was working at Chat's Pit Beef, the restaurant. And
Oh,
I was
okay.
general manager up there.
So it was a restaurant management. How many people will be working in the liquor store?
So at this moment, it'll just be me and my brother for right now. And after I get more into it, I'll be looking for employees.
Okay. Did you have a question, Commissioner?
Just about the management experience.
Okay. All right, and you're familiar with our rules and regulations? Yes. Okay, so we're pretty strict about them, just be careful.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything further?
That's it.
Okay, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application, they proffer from counsel, and the testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
To approve the transfer. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Yu. Thank you. Lake Hall exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, alcohol awareness certification. Thank you.
Well, there's two of them. Do you need it?
They're
There's one for each of them.
licenses.
2 alcohol awareness certifications. Thank you.
Pete.
Damn Good Foods LLC, trading as Our House, 1121-23 Hall Street. This is a Class D beer and wine license. A request for hardship extension under Article 12-2202. Please come forward.
Would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Would you tell us your names, please?
Diane DeSantis.
Okay, and you are?
Daniel McAtee.
Okay.
I'm the owner of the property.
You're the one who wrote us a letter.
How do you spell your last name, sir? Your last name spelled?
MACATEE.
Okay, so you're a secured creditor, is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
And so you're trying to sell this license?
Yes, sir.
And you're seeking an extension for 180 days to do that?
Yes, sir.
And your connection is?
I own the business and the license, but it was financed by Mr. McAtee. So when we closed in June, our lease was up, but we hadn't finished repaying. The idea was to just return it back to the owner.
And let him sell it?
I'm sorry?
And so that he could sell it?
So that he could sell it, right,
Okay.
exactly.
Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Any issues with selling it so far? Are you just struggling, or?
Well, I thought very early in the process, I thought I had a buyer, so I did try to do it without a business broker, but about 3 months ago, I brought in BCV, and we have actually, waiting to hear something any day. I have a couple of very interested parties, so I anticipate very shortly. Don't think we'll need 180 days, but I appreciate the opportunity for the extension.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the request for the hardship extension and the testimony received, I'd vote to approve it.
I concur and vote to approve.
I vote to approve.
180 days, right, Mr. Page?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
No exhibits for the record?
Wait for anything?
No, you're good.
Good day, everyone.
1 second, please.
Wynn's Liquors, 2540 East Fayette Street. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for hardship extension under Article 12-2202. Please come forward.
How you doing? Abraham Hurd on behalf of Wynn's Liquors. We're just here for a hardship extension. At the moment, I believe, and I just want to make sure that I'm correct, the location is currently up for sale, and I think we do have a buyer for the license at the moment. The location's been closed for, I want to say it's been about 5 months. It was very close when we did file the application. I believe that the licensee's son filed the 6-month hardship extension.
There was a request by John Kim.
Correct, that's the son of the licensee. Ultimately, the establishment has been open and operating up to within the 6-month period when they filed the hardship extension. Excuse me.
And they're asking for 180 days, is that?
That's correct.
Okay. Questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the request, the other materials contained in the request, and your proffer, I'd vote to approve the extension.
I concur and vote to approve the extension.
I vote to approve the extension, up to 180 days.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
No exhibits.
Lexington Liquors, Lexington Market. This is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for hardship extension under Article 12-2202. Please come forward.
Would you raise your right hand, sir, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you are about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Are you Mr. William Gold?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you wrote us a letter requesting 180 days so that you can sell the license, is that correct?
Correct.
You have a broker who's working with you
Yes.
on that. Any bites?
I just got with him.
Oh.
So about 2 weeks ago, so he said he's doing something. I'm not sure, but he said he has some prospects. I sold the rest of the business off. I just have the liquor license left, so someone else bought the other portion of it.
Okay. What is going on at the Lexington market?
Not too much. It's really struggling up there.
Yes, well,
We've been there 40 years, and it's just going downhill, unfortunately.
Okay.
Do something there.
Commissioners?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the request and other materials submitted and the testimony from Mr. Gold, I'd vote to approve the hardship extension for 180 days.
I concur and vote to approve the hardship extension.
I vote to approve the hardship extension up to 180 days.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No exhibits.
Canton Enterprises LLC, 2903 O'Donnell Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for a transfer hardship extension under Article 12-1705, small b. Please come forward.
Counsel?
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant.
Good afternoon. Your client is looking for an extension to be able to get open, is that correct?
That's correct, within 90 days.
Okay.
He had some bites. That was the problem. After the transfer went to Mr. Groukidis, who owns the building, he ran into somebody who was interested in renting the property and went through motions with that potential buyer in hopes that that potential buyer could then go deal with the 180 days and all the inspections that go with it. Of course, that fell through. So now he's going to have to work double time to open within 90 days. Thank you.
Questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of your written request and other submissions and proffer, I would vote to approve the 90-day extension, hardship extension.
I concur and vote to approve the 90-day hardship extension.
I vote to approve the hardship extension.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Good luck.
No exhibits?
Vibe Spirits and Sports Bar, 2300 West Baltimore Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. A request for transfer hardship extension under Article 12-1705, small b. Please come forward. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the address of 2300 West Baltimore Street does appear on the non-conforming zoning list.
Counsel?
Abraham Hurdle, filling in for Melvin Kadensky today on behalf of Vibe Spirits and Sports Bar, 2300 West Baltimore Street.
And Mr. Kadensky wrote to us in November asking for additional 90 days for transfer. Is that correct?
That's correct. I guess there was some sort of holdup regarding a use and occupancy permit, and they just need a little bit more time to work it out.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right. On the basis then of his submission and your proffer and the other materials submitted, I would approve the 90-day extension.
I concur and vote to approve the 90-day extension.
I vote to approve the 90-day extension.
Thank you. May I be excused?
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Previs, what's the story with your case?
Off the record on that one, no exhibits?
No exhibits.
Yeah, I'm sorry. On his way today?
Yeah.
Okay.
About 2 minutes out.
It's a good question, though.
Well, there was a lot of leeway. So a question arose among us earlier about the case with the secured creditors arguing in circuit court. What's the status of that case?
I'm not 100% sure.
Well, there was supposed to be a
There was a
hearing.
hearing. The Baltimore Eagle, the landlord that I represent here, retained David Mister to argue that case. There was a hearing in front of Judge Avery, and I'm not
Don't know what's going on.
sure of the outcome because it may have been disposed of on procedural grounds and not to the heart of the issue of who has rights to the license. So I have to talk to Mr. Mister and get a copy of that decision.
Okay.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Approve this. Gotta approve both licenses, right? Adult entertainment as well.
I'm not in favor of that. If you vote in favor.
He's on Fayette Street parking the car. Hey, that's good. I like that.
With the motion for reconsideration. Email it to us.
So the other night when Doug and Tom came to my place, they parked on the street.
Okay.
Parking in my,
If you can send it to us.
somebody broke his
Okay.
window. When people drive on that street and they get too close.
Which street is it?
Canterbury Road.
Um,
And most of them are terrible drivers. And they all have SUVs and vans and stupid cars that you don't need.
I have an SUV.
I hate them.
I do too, because I got so many kids. I need space for my kids.
Well, as long as you can drive them. My sister does one too. I think they all like trucks.
It's interesting that the trend now is for SUVs.
I'd rather have one of those tiny little sports cars.
Me too, but it's not how my life is played out.
Well, you got maybe 10 more years, and then you can get the small.
When I was
10 years.
single man, I had one.
7 years.
7 years till the last one's out.
Yeah, she's 10, so
Oh, they never go away.
that's true. Well, my oldest is driving. Has got her permit. Should be starting. She gets her license the end of March, early April.
I did. From Kim. Yes, thank you.
So you'll have a copy of the BD7 letter.
In the last name, yeah.
So you're gonna give her a car?
I tried to. My old car, but her mom might be getting her car. I don't know. Her mom or her grandparents. Me and her mom. Where's it coming from? I'm gonna be candid. That's why I have 16 jobs too.
Can she drive the other 2 cars?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, you got to put her to work. Yeah, she'll get something, I'm sure.
Is she a good driver so far? Is she a good driver so
Yeah,
far?
we've been working on her parking. She's got some parking issues.
Parking's hard.
Oh.
Parking's really hard.
Took her driver's ed test and passed it, 96%. So we'll see.
Parallel parking or regular parking?
Regular parking, but now
Never
she's
seen
getting,
God.
she's getting it. Driving on the highway.
I'm telling you.
Scene.
Edward.
Yeah, my sister is in the same boat. She has her permit, and I let her drive, not my car, but my dad's car. And she's appropriately cautious,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. And slow. It's
Right.
like
Oh, I'd just beat her out of the road.
but it's good. She needs
That's
to be
true.
slow.
Yeah.
Drives like free. My brother is like that. He said he was gonna apply to work for a funeral home because it's the only time he could drive the face he loved.
That's funny.
I got a year, they returned it with a 2 years older.
No, thank you.
That was the reason I didn't stop at that.
But I did just get myself.
Mayor Grady and my dad were classmates in college.
This one?
No, that's Phil Goodman.
You're funny.
All of them?
I know the ones on top. That's Stu Burns and Billy Schaefer and Harold Grady and Phil Goodman and Tommy D'Alessandro and Martin O'Malley. I don't know who that one is, and then that's Kurt Schmuck over in the corner.
Oh, yeah. Is that one new? The Martin O'Malley?
No,
Well, it's
been there.
the last 10 years.
Oh. I don't think I've.
I ran into him on Christmas Day at church.
Hmm.
He's apparently not running anymore.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
Every city, I couldn't play, I could always. They can't. I even offered him the charger. Park. Toby's the one that's really upset. He's upset, he's got a really nice, Ford Explorer. Why not?
I know.
Do we really need this guy?
Is it your clients for a park, looking for a
Probably
parking
don't.
space? Mr. Previs?
Oh, I thought you said.
Your clients here looking for parking?
Yeah,
If they're coming from Baltimore Street.
He was coming from home.
Okay.
Do we need him?
I could probably proffer what we have.
So the organization of the LLC.
There, I mean, it's one LLC to another LLC, but
So their
Mr.
licenses
Brown.
remain the same?
Yeah,
Oh.
So it's a restructuring of the LLC or entity?
kinda. The existing LLC is 99% owned by two individuals who are also the landlord. And this entity will be 100% owned by Mr. Brown, who is also
You have some concerns?
currently on the liquor license.
Well, let's call it.
Yeah.
We'll make him wait for 30 minutes too when we're done. So he'll just have to, he'll be required to sit. That's going to be part of the order.
Penalty box.
That's right.
Have Larry watch him.
Larry left. When Larry's gone, that's when it's time to close up. That's why I'm feeling a little exposed here.
Where's Larry?
I was thinking it could be a section for.
Do it. Without Larry?
Quorum rule.
Right. If a tree falls and no one's there to hear it.
Larry's not there.
Two members and Larry.
Hey, yeah, that's right. That's not a quorum. Right?
No, Larry. Oh,
Larry
no.
left.
No Larry, no Nate?
All right, well, let's call the case, Mr.
Okay.
Page.
Thank you.
Are we on the record? Nathaniel Brown Jr., Lust Entertainment LLC, trading as Lust, 408 East Baltimore Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and a Class AE adult entertainment license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment. Please come forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicant Nathaniel Brown Jr.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. The new entity, the applicant is Lust Entertainment LLC, trading as Lust. The existing entity, Mr. Brown is a licensee and 1% owner. The individuals who are also the landlords of the licensed premises are the other members of that LLC and additional licensees. The existing corporation and ownership interest has existed for approximately 2 years. And under that time, Mr. Brown has been the manager. He is alcohol awareness certified already, and the landlords are sufficiently pleased with Mr. Brown's performance that they desire that he have 100% ownership interest in this entity at this time. So the purchase price listed is $50,000, and that's basically,
Is that for both licenses?
yeah, I mean, the adult entertainment is a tag-along to the liquor license, but it's basically, it's not necessarily the fair market value of the business. It's in light of his past services and whatnot, and there.
Has Mr. Brown had any problems with us?
There was one violation for I believe it was a minor violation that Mr. Kadensky represented him on, and
I don't know that Mr. Previous that would be minor, unless I'm missing something. You mean from
under
November?
21.
Oh, minor.
Under 21.
Oh, that kind of minor.
In that context, yeah.
Because I see one on November 20th, 2017. That looked pretty
Was that
major.
Before they took the license, or
I'm sorry.
when did they get the license?
Let me go back to the board's, where's the printout?
January the 26th of 2017, there was a public hearing to transfer ownership.
So they had
Right.
it in November of there.
November 20th, 2017.
Yeah, there was a $1,625 fine, 30 days for that. I don't remember the particulars of it, but, okay.
If I recall, it was a sale to a person under 21 years of age.
But it's got sexual practices and obscenity. Was that under the AE rule? I don't know.
I recall. I didn't represent him on that. Do you recall, Mr. Chris Malice?
Yes, let's swear him in.
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. Agent Chris Mouse, Baltimore City Liquor Board. If I recall correctly, Chief Fosler wrote a violation. He saw illegal sexual activity, female that had breasts exposed, not on the stage, dancing with a male, I believe, sitting. It wasn't my case, but I remember something along those lines.
Okay.
There's illegal conduct, is that what we're?
That's probably what it was. It was about a year ago.
Obscenity practices, sexual practices, and obscenity, specific rules are highlighted
Yes.
here.
That's the one then. That's the one Chief Fosler wrote.
Okay, thanks. Commissioners have any questions?
How, I guess I do. How will Mr., well, it'd be helpful if he's here. How is he changing this? Fortunately, there hasn't been a violation in a year, a little over a year.
That's correct.
So that's helpful.
Yeah.
Be helpful to know from him, because his fitness is what is our review, right? It's, our review is
Right.
his fitness of
Exactly.
character, so.
And I do know that Mr. Brown is on site every day. He's a very active owner and has taken his responsibilities very seriously. And I am unaware of any violations since that occurred. And I think it speaks volumes that the landlords are sufficiently comfortable with Mr. Brown being in total operational control.
What was the reasoning behind the transfer? If I missed it, I apologize.
I'm sorry, this current transfer?
Yes.
Yeah, the structure of the existing LLC is it's 99% owned by the two individuals who are also the owners of the landlord entity, and Mr. Brown is a licensee and a 1% owner. And the current structure, proposed structure, is that Mr. Brown owns the LLC and he's the 100% owner and he is the sole licensee. So the landlords who control the ownership interest are now sufficiently comfortable with Mr. Brown's operations that he will be able to operate this establishment productively and on his own. They are still the landlords and they're still on site as well. But that's the intent behind this.
Okay, so Commissioners, do you want to go ahead or not?
Well, I'm curious to know what his response would be to Commissioner Greenfield's question, what he would do differently.
Well, where is he? As we know how close he is now.
May I step out?
Please. I guess 1 o'clock doesn't mean anything to this man. If he's not here, we can continue it.
That's probably what we should do. 'Cause I have a hard time without him being here. It's an adult entertainment too. And
Right.
I got Play-Doh to read, or Play-Doh to play with. Where you look at it. I think that's what if he's not here, we should just continue it. That's what our counsel is suggesting.
Mr. Brown is present. Raise your right hand.
Brown, how are you? Would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Brown, a question has arisen about the incident back in 2017 when there were severe fines imposed, and as to what has changed since then. Can you let us know?
All right, my staff was two floormen at that time. Now I went up to 5. So it's easier to.
You had 2 people working on the floor, is that what you?
On the floor, floormen, yes.
Okay, and they're there all the time?
Yeah, they're, when we're open, yes.
And so you now have 5 people doing that job?
Correct.
And that's to ensure that the dancers and others follow the rules and regulations?
I have 1 posted at each corner and 1 floater who walks the floor.
And are you there every day?
I'm there every day.
Okay. So when did you implement the 5 floormen? Is this after the November?
Yes, after we had a violation. I'm not sure.
Now, we were discussing, so let me set the stage. We were discussing, part of our requirement here is to determine your fitness to take this over.
Okay.
Right? And so you have this, what I would consider somewhat serious violation from November of 17.
Remember.
Good news is you haven't had any violations since.
Correct.
So we're trying to determine what have you done, what will you continue to do to stay out of trouble?
Well, like I said, we went with 1. There was 1 doorman at the time. There were 2 floormen. Now we have 1 doorman. We have four corner guys and 1 guy floating. So for a total of 6 people instead of 3.
And the underlying violation at that hearing, I didn't represent you at that hearing, but it was the dancer was commingling with customers.
Yeah. Well, she no longer works there, but we haven't had anything of the such since.
And do you think that's attributable to your change in how you're, quote-unquote, policing the establishment?
Yeah. I mean,
Somewhat?
for what it was, I think I was going a little too cheap on how many people I had manned in the place.
Okay, so you increased that, okay.
Correct.
And you also counsel all of your staff and people who work there that what the rules are and what is allowed and what's not allowed?
I mean, I actually recently went into having walkie-talkies so that people, this person over here knows this person. Well, I need you over here. So we're better staffed on that, and we're better equipped to do everything. Way better than when we first started.
Did you participate in the opioid initiative with the health department?
I
and
did.
Liquor board?
Yes.
So you were at that training?
Yes, I was.
He not only attended, he immediately came to my office and
Right
taught
after.
me what he learned. It was very interesting.
Good. That's good.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay, anything further?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, proffers from council, and testimony, I would vote to approve the transfer of the license with continued live entertainment with just this short warning. I mean, I think, looks like things are going okay, but that was very serious, and if it comes back again, you'd probably be closed for some period of time or maybe permanently, so you need to be very careful about that sort of thing. So I vote to approve.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer of the liquor license and the adult entertainment license with the continuation of live entertainment.
Thank you.
Thank you, good luck.
Sorry for the delay.
Thank you, guys.
What happened, Nate?
My 1-year-old.
Pages that are docket.
That is, Mr. Chairman, the board is in recess until Thursday, January the 17th, 2019, 11 a.m.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Priebus.
Guys.
Tell Larry you can go home.
He's gone. He's home. He watched the rest at home.